Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. This is a video that I have not previewed yet. Typically I don't do this. I will watch the video first a couple times and then do the commentary on it. But since I've been kind of stretched for time here lately and haven't been able to produce as much, I'm going to see how this works out with watching it the first time and doing the commentary on it. So what I'll do is I'll play the video. I'll pause it intermittently here and there to talk about things, to better explain what's going on and to talk about things that I think that are being done right and are done wrong. Without further ado, here we go.
Hello. I'm Sergeant Andy Williams with the Phoenix Police Department Public Affairs Bureau. The information, audio, video, and pictures you're about to see are intended to provide details as we currently understand them of an officer-involved shooting that occurred just after 4 p.m. on May 24th, 2022. This video may contain strong language as well as graphic images which could be disturbing to some people. Viewer discretion is advised. This incident began in the area of 32nd Street and Union Hills Drive at about 3 o'clock p.m. A patrol sergeant was in the area when he was flagged down by a community member who provided information about an adult male suspect who he observed attempting to steal a vehicle. The sergeant spotted and followed the suspect, who ran away from the area. Body-worn cameras are used by all officers assigned to patrol and several specialty units. Per policy, they are worn at mid-torso level and capture the view of the line of sight from that perspective. It's important to note that the camera lens is fixed and does not capture everything seen or experienced by the officer. When activated, both audio and video turn on. The body-worn camera has a buffer of video without audio for the 30 seconds prior to activation. This feature is designed to capture incidents that happen suddenly where an officer doesn't immediately activate the camera. The Phoenix Police Department does not currently use in-car camera systems. As the patrol sergeant began following the suspect, a 911 call came in from another community member who reported the suspect attempted to rob them of their vehicle while they were sitting in it. Here's the audio from that 911 call.
Phoenix 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, I'm at on 32nd Street on Union Hill. I was at the and I was sitting in the truck with my AC on, and some guy tried to jump in and take off with it. And he was threatening me, and I don't know what he took from my truck. I don't know if he took my phone or what, but
How long ago?
just like 5 minutes ago.
Did he have any weapons?
He says he does, but I don't think he does.
Here's a portion of the body-worn camera video from the sergeant, who was the first on scene. The suspect ran from the sergeant and jumped over a fence in a residential neighborhood. The sergeant called for additional resources, and a perimeter was established.
Richard, get down on the ground!
2757.
2757. Yeah, an ETA for that officer who said he's held that right there. Did he have need of another officer? The possible suspect?
23 Frankie's running westbound on Roseman from 32nd Street.
Patrol officers, with the help of police...
So I'll back it up really quick. Notice the back of his microphone here.
Who said he's
Oops.
Yeah, an ETA for that officer who said...
All right. So typically, the mount on the back isn't this large looking. It's a lot smaller. And what this is this is a magnet. So typically the way the microphones come from the manufacturer is they have a little, they're called a swivel mount. It's basically a round disc, so to speak, on the back. And that disc, you just kind of slip it into this little bracket. And this little bracket is typically something like the size, well, it's no bigger than like the face of a large wristwatch or something like that. And usually those are screwed into the dashboard somewhere, and you just click the microphone into that bracket. This is a product where a magnet goes over that little clip and stays in place, and then you can take that magnet and freaking mount it anywhere on the console that's in between the seats. And or for example, it may also clip into, depending on the manufacturer, it could click onto a laptop mount that's inside the vehicle. I like these products. I think they're pretty nifty, and it allows you to really just put that thing anywhere on that metal console, because it's metal and the magnet's going to stick to it, and it takes away that requirement that you have to put it in that little bracket in that one particular spot. And under stress and duress, sometimes that you can't get it, can't get it in the hole. So the magnet thing makes it super easy. You just plop that thing down on the console there, and it magnetizes and stays in place. So pretty cool products. I can't remember the name of it, but you can, of course, do a internet search for it, and it'll pop up.
He's the held that right there. Did he have need of another officer? The suspect?
23 Frankie's running westbound on Roseman from 32nd Street.
Patrol officers, with the help of police canines, began systematically searching the yards in the area looking for the suspect when the suspect started shooting. This happened a little after 4 o'clock p.m. Here's a portion of the body-worn camera from a patrol officer who is assisting with the search. All of the gunshots that can be heard at this time are from the suspect. No officers discharged their weapons until later in the incident.
On the left side, that's where they were.
There were multiple officers in the area, and the suspect was firing in different directions around the house. Officers took cover behind vehicles and houses. Officers would later learn the suspect had broken into a home where the residents were away. The suspect shot and hit several vehicles that officers were taking cover behind. At about 4:08 p.m., an officer with a rifle returned fire at the suspect, but did not strike him. Here's body-worn camera video from the officer returning fire at the suspect.
We have 2 officers that are...
That's us, dude. We need to get down. He's elevated. Take it. Where's he at? Where's he shooting from?
Front window, middle window panel.
This officer.
So, gunfights aren't like the movies, and sometimes you just can't always necessarily figure out where the damn gunfire is coming from. Whether you're outside and you're, in a big open area, someone could be shooting at you, and you may not ever know exactly where they're at. Even to some extent, in urban environments, a person could be shooting at you, and you may not immediately know exactly where they are at. And from the sounds of it, this person is inside a structure, and he is shooting from within that structure to officers outside. So I'd imagine that he may be firing through windows at this point. That in of itself could be the giveaway to people paying attention when they see the glass break, or the glass is shattered to the house. That could give them an indication, and that's possibly what this officer with the rifle had seen. It's possible that he had seen the broken glass to the front of the house, recognized that that's exactly where the shots are coming from, and then was able to start returning fire to that window where shots were coming at. I'll back it up, and you can hear the rounds impact this truck where they're at.
Here's body-worn camera video from the officer returning fire at the suspect.
We have 2 officers that are...
That's us, dude. We need to get down.
Earlier, you could hear the gunfire in the background, but then you could also hear like a kind of noise. That was the sound of the rounds passing very close by. The rounds, of course, are supersonic, so they will make noise when they pass by you or pass near you, and the sound can vary based on if it's close or far from you. But they'll make noise as they're going by.
He's elevated. Take a shot. Where's he at?
You can actually hear it.
He's elevated. Get down. He's elevated.
You can hear the.
Take a shot. Where's he at? Where's he shooting from? Where's he shooting from?
Front window, middle window panel.
This officer and 2 nearby sergeants then utilized cover fire to help 2 of them move further away from the suspect and to a safer location. Cover fire is defined as controlled, accurate weapons fire delivered at an appropriate target with the intent of keeping a suspect's attention away from the exposed officers, allowing them to move or complete a rescue or other task. Acceptable targets for cover fire are near the suspect's last known location and are capable of stopping and containing weapons fire. Some examples include block walls, door frames, residential structure header and footers, and engine blocks. Here's body-worn camera video from the same officer utilizing cover fire to move to safety.
We'll put him in the door jam. We got a rifle here, but we're gonna just suppression fire and move west.
Where do you want me to put the rounds?
You guys can put suppression low, we'll put suppression high.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Good with that?
Yeah.
You need the eye of 34th Street and Rosemont blocked off. Got 512 in the area.
Just shoot and move, dude. Put him in that door jam.
On you.
Which
Ready?
door?
I'll do top right window, you do left.
Top left?
You do top left, I do top right.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready? Go.
Copy, moving, go. Right here. All right, move back, come on, pull.
Okay, so they're sort of doing bounding here. They're both moving at the same time. Traditionally, the tactic is taught to one person stays in a fixed location, they provide the covering fire, and the other person beats feet really quick to another spot. They go down, they take a position, and then they start delivering covering fire. And then the person who first initially provided it can leave their spot, run towards that other person and go past them a little bit, and while they're moving they can perform a reload under movement. Then they'll get to a new set location, call it out, set, and then start delivering fire. And then the second person will do the same as that other one. They'll get up, they'll move, and as they're moving, perform a reload, go past them a little bit, find a set location, get down, start firing, and then the other person will repeat. That's called bounding. That's an effective tactic to use. When both move at the same time, that can create some problems there. You both are firing at the same time, so that increases the chances of you both running empty while you're moving. And if you're moving and you both run empty, then if you haven't got behind cover yet, then whoever you're shooting at can start fucking shooting at you, and you don't have any rounds to send back at them. So that's the biggest drawback to it. So cover fire, obviously in military settings is normal, right? Like, it's fucking war zone. Typically, you can have heavy to medium weapons doing covering fire for units or squads. Even individuals with their battle rifles or carbines will be providing cover fire. Multiple of them providing cover fire to a general area while people move, and that's acceptable within that environment. It's a war zone. Domestic law enforcement, it's not as widely utilized like that, because in a domestic law enforcement sense, there are more innocent bystanders. Now, in a war zone, there can be obviously innocent bystanders in an urban environment. It's just that the differences between domestic U.S. and other theaters is in those other theaters of war, those innocent bystanders, they are and can be considered collateral damage. And although it sucks, it's just unfortunately the business of war. So in domestic law enforcement, it's a lot different. So there can be some issues with lobbing a bunch of rounds at a little, even though they're kind of pinpointing where they're lobbing these rounds at, they're still not shooting a defined target. And those rifle rounds can go through walls. They can go through a lot of residential walls. And so the possibility of those rounds penetrating those walls and going through and hitting innocent bystanders increases. And so that then also increases the liability for the officer and the agency. And ultimately, the most important thing is it increases the risk for innocent people being shot. So they did mention that there are specified places where they will direct that covering fire. Engine blocks are obviously going to soak up rounds. They're not going to go through them very well. Talked about headers and footers and other parts of the building construction where they're more likely to be able to soak up rounds and not overly penetrate some of the structures. But for domestic law enforcement and domestic security, cover fire is something that it can be trained for, but it has to be utilized extremely carefully. So it's not like a war zone where you can just fucking open up with a belt-fed machine gun at the front of a building somewhere and just light that bitch up, and it be acceptable because it's a war zone, right? You don't have that much leeway when it comes to domestic law enforcement and domestic security, because state laws and stuff are way different than rules of warfare. But it is something that can be trained for, and it can be utilized, but it has to be done very controlled and very, very carefully.
Here's body-worn camera video from two sergeants who also utilized cover fire.
I'll do top right window, you do left.
Top left?
Top, you do top left, I do top right.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready?
Now be moving. Go. Right here. All right, move back. Pull.
Patrol officers work to cordon off the area and evacuate nearby residents or have them shelter in place. The Phoenix Police Special Assignments Unit, or SAU, arrived on scene in armored vehicles. They used a PA system to communicate with the suspect in an attempt to negotiate a peaceful surrender. They also utilized less lethal tactics, including tear gas, to avoid an armed confrontation with the suspect and encourage him to come outside. About 3 hours after the shooting began, the suspect exited the house with his hands up. SAU detectives provided a ladder for him to climb down and took him into custody.
To the ladder. Yep. Yep. Go for it. Yep. I'm gonna throw you off, man. I'm gonna slow you. All right. Hey, still pulling off, man. I'm gonna pull you off, man. I don't want to get hurt, man. I'm gonna pull you off. All right, thank you for giving me your work, sir. Thank you, good radar.
If you're just gonna tie you up, okay, you're good.
No, yeah, we're good. The water though, right? Doing it? We're gonna walk you over here. Come on.
Put the cuffs on right here.
Okay. I just put him up for you. I just put him up for you guys. No, I'm not.
Ah, so it looks like you took a round.
I submit it. The other hand. I submit it.
I know.
I know what you do. You're good.
You go. All right, in custody.
On the other side.
The suspect was transported to the hospital for minor injuries sustained during the incident. He was released and booked into jail on multiple charges, including 17 counts of aggravated assault against police and residential burglary. Detectives recovered the weapons used by the suspect inside the home. The officer involved in this shooting has been with the department for 4 years and is assigned to the Maryvale Estrella Mountain Precinct. Involved in this recovered the weapons used by the suspect inside and residential charges, including sustained. He was released and booked into jail on multiple charges, including 17 counts of aggravated assault against police and residential burglary. Detectives recovered the weapons used.
So, I could be wrong, but I don't think he had this shit on him when that first officer encountered him and he was running. It's a possibility that these guns were inside the house that he broke into. And if that's the case, then holy shit, he got fucking lucky with breaking into a house and being able to come across these unsecured. So at this point, without having done any prior research on this, I'm not 100% sure what the case is. I just, from my gut feeling, from what I remember seeing the beginning of this video, I don't think he had all this shit on him as he was running away. There's not even any slings on these weapons, so for him to be able to be carrying these things, it would be extremely difficult for him to do. I'm kind of thinking that these were inside the house that he broke into. And my most previous video from the Los Angeles County Sheriff Santa Clarita Station, maybe something like that. I can't remember what the heck the name of it was. I kind of went on this rant talking about lawful gun owners negligently storing their guns to where they're accessible and operable to unauthorized people. And this is exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. So, if this is in fact what I think it is, and these are guns that were owned by the lawful owner, and they were just kept in the house where they were easily accessible by anyone, then this is what I'm talking about. This is the wrong shit that is going on with lawful gun owners. It's shit like this that is adding to the tally marks that are being used against lawful gun owners. When criminals can gain easy, super easy access to weapons that are unattended and unsecured, it's hurting us, because these anti-gun groups are using these statistics against us. Every time a criminal breaks into a car and steals a gun that is sitting in the middle console that doesn't even have a fucking lock on it, and then that gets used in a crime, guess what? That's one extra statistic used against us. Time of recording is June 13th, and there's some pretty scary talks right now about some bipartisan gun control. Matthew McConaughey, I haven't watched his little speech, but he's had a big speech with people saying that both sides need to come together and do stuff with gun control, and it's picking up a lot of traction. And I gotta tell you, it's kind of concerning, because the way people are being all wishy-washy and acting on emotions, like, I have a really bad feeling that some stupid shit could end up getting passed. Got a bad feeling that there could be a Clinton era style assault weapon ban come back into play that'll be way worse, way worse than what the Clinton era assault weapon ban ever was. It will be the liberals' anti-gun wet dream. So this is it. Fucking people like this right here, leaving home and leaving their guns easily accessible and operable to unauthorized people. If the owners had put these things in a safe, then that dude wouldn't have been able to fucking touch them. If they didn't have a safe, but they had the cable locks from where they bought these damn things, and they ran the cable locks through the magazine well and the ejection port and locked it, yeah, he might have been able to grab one, but he wouldn't have been able to put it to use. The only sensible gun control measure that I think should be thought of and approached is storage laws. Unfortunately, I know what that would entail. If the liberals had their way, they would want all guns to always be locked up all the fucking time, which makes no sense whatsoever. In my head, my version of good storage laws would be, if that gun is not on you or within arm's reach of you, then it needs to be made inoperable or inaccessible to unauthorized users. Meaning it's locked in a safe, or it has a cable lock or a trigger lock on it. If you're going to leave home for 8, 10, 12, 16 hours of the fucking day to go to work, and you leave your rifle sitting in your bedroom with a magazine in it, fully capable of being picked up by anyone and being utilized, you're wrong. You are fucking wrong. You are making it easy for a criminal to become armed. And of course, people say, well, the criminal shouldn't be breaking into people's houses. Put the criminal away, blah, blah, blah. Yes, of course, put the criminal away if they get caught. But they don't always get caught when they break into people's fucking houses. Lawful gun owners here in America are going to be the ones who end up causing their fucking rights to go away. It is the lawful gun owners, the majority of them, are the ones who are creating these issues for us when they leave their fucking guns at home, unattended, unsecured, and fully operable to anyone. When they leave their gun in their car in the middle console that doesn't even have a freaking lock on it. Or they leave it in the car and leave the fucking door unlocked. Like, you have no idea how many fucking idiots will leave a gun in the car, in the middle console that doesn't lock. Leave it in the glove box that either doesn't lock, or they don't even lock it if it does have a lock. And then leave their damn doors unlocked. Every fucking week this happens. All across the nation. So when we lose our gun rights, it's not so much the criminals that we're going to have to put the blame on. It's us. It is the Second Amendment supporters who are going to be, not all of them, but a lot of them. It's going to be a lot of the Second Amendment supporters who are to fucking blame for this, because they are careless with how they store their guns when they do not have direct control over them. If that gun is not on you, it needs to be made inaccessible and inoperable to unauthorized users. You people who do this shit, you need to unfuck yourselves, because you are giving the anti-gun crowd all the ammo they need to come for our rights and take our rights away. All right, end of rant. Moving on.
Used by the suspect inside the home. The officer involved in this shooting has been with the department for 4 years and is assigned to the Maryvale Estrella Mountain Precinct. 2 sergeants utilized cover fire during the incident. One has been with the department for 32 years and the other for 13 years. Both are assigned to the Black Mountain Precinct. This incident is the subject of both an internal and a criminal investigation, which will be reviewed by the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. Conclusions about whether...
All right, so we'll stop it right here because it's at the end of the video, and there's no sense in wasting time listening to what else he has to say. So, yeah, that's it on this video. I don't really have anything else to say about this. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.